Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Today's video kicks off with a case of mistaken identity, because nothing says pharmacy employee like a punk rock outfit and a t-shirt about Satan. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Dress like a demon, helping like an angel, retail habits die hard. I've worked in retail customer service positions my whole life and frequently get mistaken for an employee when I'm not. I've gotten used to it, and for the most part I understand it. Oftentimes it happens when I'm running errands after work in black uniform slacks and the basic shirts I wear underneath my work logo embroidered button-downs. I also carry around a large key ring of jingly keys. I can't really blame people under those circumstances. Anyway, here's my most recent interaction for your, hopefully, enjoyment. I was shopping at a large chain pharmacy on an unusual mission to spend a $400 health benefit card that was about to expire. It only worked on certain items, so I was having to spend a decent amount of time finding things that qualified that my household could actually use. Out of the corner of my eye, I occasionally kept spotting the same little old lady. Over and over, I was catching glances of her peering down aisles at me, I assume because of my outfit that day. It was my day off, and I was wearing my punk rock adjacent street clothing. I'm used to stares and glares, even though my style is toned down with age. I paid her no mind and kept shopping. About 45 minutes into my mission, my cart was nearly full and I was focused on reading fine print ingredients on some product. I hear someone's throat clear. I look up and see the little old lady. She looks me up and down several times. I have my hair in a messy rat's nest ponytail on top of my head, black and white striped drainpipe jeans, Doc Martens, and a black t-shirt with "Touched by Satan" in large print, and an image of Satan touching someone on the shoulder with a speech bubble saying, "Tag, you're it," causing them to burst into flames. I push my glasses back up my nose and look at her. She stares at my shirt. I stare back at her. She adjusts her glasses, clears her throat again, and raises her eyes to meet mine. We make prolonged, awkward eye contact. I'm silent, internally flinching, expecting to get backlash about my shirt, and finally she says, "Do you work here?" I am completely dumbfounded. No, I don't. "Oh, that's, I thought you worked here, since you have a cart filled with so much, I was just hoping for some help finding laundry detergent. I'm sorry." She pursed her lips and looked puzzled and embarrassed. Well, I don't work here, but I do shop here often, so I know where it is. Follow me, I'll show you." She made it sound like she was going to protest, but I strode off with confidence to lead her to the detergent. She followed. I pointed out the detergent section once we were in eye shot. After she spotted it, she smiled warmly back at me and said, "Thank you, sweetie. You have a good day." I wished her the same and went back to finish my shopping. After a 15-plus years of getting grief over my clothing choices, this confusing interaction warmed my heart. Hopefully it warms one or two hearts here on Reddit. Thanks for reading. First off, that shirt's hilarious. Second, if she's old, she may not have seen it clearly from a distance and realized once she saw it close that the chances of you working there were slim to nil. But she'd already gotten your attention, so the awkwardness on her side may have been less the content of your shirt and more her realizing she was mistaken and resigning herself to asking anyway. And our second story. Revenge on my former coworker. So a long time ago, when the world was dark and hope was lost, I worked at the Big Blue store known for its smiley face stickers and greeters that were dead inside. I wasn't the world's greatest employee, but I got on well with my fellow blue worker bees. I liked them, they liked me, all was unicorns and rainbow glitter. Oh, who am I kidding? That job sucked, and it was made worse by a low-level cashier, henceforth known as Ida. Why Ida? I don't know. Sorry, couldn't resist. Ida was old, Ida was bitter, Ida was quite frankly an entitled bee who made everyone's life hell, especially mine. She lived to embarrass me in front of customers and positively glowed when she felt she had the upper hand. Maybe her depends were too tight or she was permanently constipated. So fast forward about 6 months after I was set free from the blue pit of death, I was in need of a calculator. Yeah, this is way before smartphones, shut up. I sashayed down to electronics, picked out a cute little pocket calculator, on sale, $3.89 or thereabouts. I skipped up to the cash, plopped it down, dug out my wallet, and looked up. It was Ida. Oh, crap. So I smile politely, she smirks back, rang my calculator through, $15. Nope, says I, $3. Ida smirked harder. Nope, you must be mistaken, dear. Clearly it's $15. Now I no longer work there. I didn't have to take her crap anymore. I glared at her. Nope, sign said 3. Please have it checked. Ida grinned at the customer behind me, smirked at me again. Clearly you are wrong. Again, just like you always were when you worked here. And if you continue to argue, I will get you banned. I was pissed. Glared at her. Manager, now. Ida paused, looked confused. Now. Called over the front manager, who asked what was going on. Me. Not much, except your employees denying me proper customer service by refusing to double-check a simple price for me. Manager glared at Ida, who gulped. Manager went down and checked the price, $3.89. Gave it to me for free with apologies. Forced Ida to apologize. That was pure gold. After the manager left, I had my moment of pure petty revenge. I looked at her and said, you may have treated me like crap when I worked here and I had to tolerate your garbage, but I no longer work here, and when I come in here as a customer, you will treat me with respect, or I will personally make it my mission to get your butt fired. Are we clear? I glanced at the customer behind me, and she was grinning so big. I grinned back, looked over at Ida, who was making dying fish faces, and walked out. I got revenge on Ida and a free calculator. Ida was way too comfortable with her little power trip. It's like she thought wearing that vest came with a crown and a decree to rule over all customers and employees with SMUG authority. She got off on belittling you, and I guarantee she thought this was going to be another moment where she got to flex her Walmart overlord status. And our last story. My neighbor's 10-year campaign to ruin our lives just blew up in her face. When I was 16, a new neighbor moved into the house next door to mine, which we share a driveway with. Our neighborhood is really close and like to have get-togethers and block parties. So we all got together and had a little celebration to welcome her. Immediately, it became clear that she did not like my dad. A while later, we find out that she's been telling our neighbors that my dad was inappropriate to her at the party. I know my dad would never act like that, but he isn't a native English speaker. He's Middle Eastern, which is relevant. And hey, maybe some sort of wire got crossed and there was some kind of misunderstanding. So my dad goes to try and apologize to her. It does not go well, and she tells my dad to leave, which he promptly did. Then she put up the security cameras. They absolutely covered her house, getting views of pretty much every angle, including lots of shots of our shared drive. Whatever, we thought, a lady has a right to put cameras on her house. Then the cops started showing up. She called them claiming we had messed with her cameras or that me and my friends were shining laser pointers into them. The cops would leave pretty quickly because the supposed crime involved a camera which somehow hadn't captured any evidence of the supposed crime. Then she started claiming that we were poisoning her yard. She spent a lot of time in her lawn gardening and growing plants, but for some reason, every 6 months or so, she'd cut everything down and start over. Anyways, the cops started coming, asking about our supposed poisoning of her lawn, but they couldn't find any evidence. We didn't have any poison, her cameras hadn't picked anything up, and we had no effing motive to poison her lawn, so she started an inquest with the Department of Agriculture. A pesticide use investigator showed up and interrogated us, then took samples from her yard. While that was going on, we had a few fun encounters with her. Once she bought a giant floodlight and pointed it into our window in the middle of the night. The fire department had to come and unplug it. Another time, our dinner was interrupted when a massive hazmat truck came blaring down our street. Men in heavy gear poured out and charged into her house, and then, minutes later, disappointedly filed out. One guy came and told us that she had bought a Geiger counter and used it wrong and had thought we had irradiated her house. Finally, things came to a head when she sued us to get an order of protection. She claimed that my dad was a member of an Al-Qaeda sleeper cell intent on destroying her. She also claimed that she had used his skills as an engineer to develop a device that she referred to as a white ion laser, which would allow him to turn invisible and sneak into her house. She submitted 1 terabyte of film from her cameras, all of which was annotated with such incriminating evidence as OP leaves the house, OP enters the house. There were also tons of photos and notes. It was here that we discovered that her cameras were pointed into my bedroom and had been filming me for years. I was a young lad by this point, so there's probably video evidence of some pretty embarrassing teenage behavior out in the ether now. We later legally forced her to move the cameras, but she kept moving them back, so I just kept my blinds closed for the better part of a decade. During the trial, the Department of Agriculture report came back. It was determined that crazy neighbor has poisoned her own lawn by over-fertilizing it. She received a fine for contaminating the groundwater. We obviously won the lawsuit and countersued her to get our own order of protection. We also had to legally get the files on us at the FBI and CIA closed since she had reported us to both agencies. Despite losing the suit, she continued to live next to us, occasionally calling the police on us or suing us again. All things accounted for, the cops were called on us 37 times, we were sued 5 times, and of course there were the investigations with various federal agencies. It's now been 10 years, and she's finally moving out. Why, you might ask? Does she feel guilty for accusing us of crimes with no evidence for a decade? Had her paranoia finally driven her to move? No, she didn't pay her property taxes for 6 years and her house got taken from her. She tried to sue the city on a bunch of occasions as well and failed. Womp womp. This is only a summary of the situation. There's tons more. I haven't even gotten into her kids, her husband scam, or faking a disability, and so much more. This is wild. Like levels of paranoia and delusion that could fuel an entire season of a true crime docuseries. I feel so bad for your family, especially your dad. The way she targeted him right from the start with those disgusting accusations is straight up racist paranoia at its worst. How do you even respond to something that stupid in court with a straight face? Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.